there tomorrow night.
Ooh, and with that, we welcome you into the 97th edition of The Lounge. Travis Kriens representing the Pioneer hat. How the fuck they don't have a bowl game? I'm not quite sure. We got
They're gonna have a game in Des Moines here next year.
Put our names. You got Mr. Traxler sweating it out in the track suits. You got Mr. Schottenkirk getting ready for Raw in less than 24 hours or so. What do we got there?
That's his. That's the tequila hat. Some sort of
tequila hat. Tis the season, and we got Charlie Hildebrand. Is your shirt? Is there sponsors on your shirt, or is it
just a plain white shirt? So I haven't gotten a haircut in a long time, so I'm sponsoring high school kids, I guess.
Available for sponsorship, so contact the Mesquite Barbecue Company to sponsor Mr. Hildebrand's shirt. Start this week. We got our trades, our historic trades that David came up with. We got the baseball trades, got the basketball trades. We got the Dallas Cowboys. They clinched a playoff spot, clinched the division today. An ass kicking of the Indianapolis Colts.
The Colts 8-8 dream is dead for the Cowboys, unfortunately.
It doesn't seem right that there was no collapse this year. That really disappoints me. So we'll just have to wait a couple weeks.
No collapse from Detroit yet. Although I feel like they're capable of it.
Here's my first question. They're going to expand the playoffs next year to 7 teams, and you got Arizona with their quarterback. That's no fun. Detroit, they're a joke. Their offense, I don't know what the hell happened to their offense. Do we really need a 7th playoff team? Why the hell are we adding another playoff team?
It's a good question. I don't have a great answer. I think it's probably okay the way it is. But
is there that much money in one more game that the networks have to pay for on a Saturday night in January here?
Well, I know they really like. I don't know if this is going to happen, but I know they really like the idea of a third game on Saturday, I think, and then they could maybe put another game on Monday night.
I don't like it.
Or put it, Friday if they really wanted to. I think they want a third night of playoff wild card football. So, I'm hoping that doesn't happen. But like you said, it seems like it's kind of imminent that they're going to expand. I think it's just like the wild card in baseball or whatever you want to say. Some years it's going to seem like a great idea. This year, the NFC, or the AFC, you could certainly add in another team, and I don't think anybody would really bat an eye. The NFC has kind of been pretty weird, but you're always going to have, a divisional team that gets in at 8-8. And there's going to be some years where the 7 teams earn it, and there's going to be some years where it doesn't seem like they do. And I guess, you're not going to be able to turn down the owners at this point, so we'll see.
Like right now, if you were to add that 7th playoff team in the NFC, what do you got? San Francisco at 7-8. They've lost close games. You got Philadelphia at 9-6. I guess they would be the 7th playoff team, and they've lost 3 in a row. So I think anybody really wants to see that. So what? There's only one team get a bye, or you get a double bye, or how's that going to work?
If they expand, it'd be 1 bye, which I actually, if they do go that way, I'm a big fan of, because right now the way it's been working, that week off for a lot of teams, it seemed to hurt them. We've seen wild cards make runs. That second seed would always, in my opinion, would probably be more beneficial than having the week off in some senses. You're going to play an 8-8 team or 9-7 team, but you're going to play a game, you get out without injury. You're not going to have the week off like the 1 seed does to sit around and not do anything and not get, kind of out of rhythm or whatever. But it's probably about 90% sure that it's going to happen. It might not be next year, but it definitely be the year after. The field goal thing is going to change too. The guys want it. Goodell wants it. There's imminent changes coming, and I'm not necessarily opposed to any of them.
Are they doing the shortening it up 2 feet on each side? Is that they're going to do that in the Pro Bowl? Or are they going to pass that next year?
It might not be next year again, but these changes that they're all talking about, and the extra point is getting moved back on top of the fact that the goalposts are going in. That might, like I said, it's very likely not going to be next year, but 2016, I'd be surprised if they didn't have some pretty big changes.
I'm not real crazy about the goalpost thing because, I mean, to me, that's pretty integral to the game. I mean, field goals are hard. I think field goals are reasonably hard. I think kickers should be rewarded for the fact that they're as good as they've ever been. And hopefully on the blog here in the next week or two, free time, we can analyze that a little bit further. But, I mean, kickers are as good as they've ever been. And so extra points are the thing that I think everybody wants to make a little bit more difficult. I have no problem with moving the extra point back to the 15 or whatever it's going to be. I think they should play with the hash marks a little bit more. I think it may make things on offense a little bit more interesting if you bump those out a little further. But as far as changing the goalposts, I'm not a huge fan of that. I'd be interested in maybe raising the crossbar, although the crossbar isn't really a problem at this point.
It kind of seems like they're trying to make everything rule-wise a little bit harder for everybody except quarterbacks and receivers. And it kind of seems like this has been going on for a while, that they essentially just want it to be quarterbacks throwing to open receivers that are unmolested and get rid of everything else.
That does seem to be the way they're going here. AFC playoff picture, you kind of think it's, well, you got Pittsburgh, they're in. You got that last spot. Cincinnati, I still think Cincinnati shits themselves, and they're out. I think they lose to Denver tomorrow. I think they lose to Pittsburgh on next week. You got San Diego at Kansas City. San Diego wins, they're in. If they were to lose, then you look at Baltimore. They should beat Cleveland. So between San Diego and Baltimore, do you have a preference, Marcus Strax, or San Diego, Baltimore last playoff spot, or Cincinnati if you want to put Cincinnati in there?
Not Baltimore now. Not after they crap the bed today. Even though I'm a pretty firm believer that they'd be a team that could be dangerous if they did get in the playoffs. I think my options are Cincinnati and San Diego too.
Or Buffalo, yeah. Yep. Or we'll see what Buffalo does here.
Yeah, they're kind of behind the eight ball right now, but I would say San Diego. I was pretty impressed with their comeback against San Francisco. I know San Francisco's kind of pretty meh, but I would like to see San Diego in the playoffs. I think they have the most potential of those teams you lay there. I haven't been a Cincinnati guy for years. I just think they really do fail when the pressure's on, and I haven't seen anything recently to change my mind on that.
I think Phillip Rivers kind of gives his kids a Christmas present and say, your Christmas present this year is me making the playoffs. You think he's an asshole like that?
My playoff bonus, yeah.
I can see that.
I'll just split it up and you can have it.
I've always thought that Phillip Rivers, the way he would raise his kids, is he would say, hey, it's your birthday and you're 6 now, so I'm just going to drive you into the middle of town and drop you off. And your present is learning how to survive on your own at a young age. Most kids don't get that young. They're a step ahead of everybody else.
That's true. Right.
Is he Mormon, or what's his deal with the goddamn kids here? Is a Catholic or?
No, I think he's Christian. I don't know what's
he played at NC State. I'm assuming he's probably from around North Carolina, but even that's just an assumption. I don't know.
Sure as hell talks like it. A rare opportunity here where the Monday night game's actually better than the Sunday night game. You have Denver at Cincinnati. Denver's a 4-point favorite. How do you see this team? Because Cincinnati, they have disappointed many a time in many a big time game, and you have the playoffs coming up here. Mr. Schottenkirk, who do you expect to win tomorrow night?
I think Denver wins, but I think it's a field goal game. I don't get where everyone's getting all this hype on Denver again in the last few weeks. Yeah, they look a bit better. They have a decent running back, C.J. Anderson, that we talked about last week with Stacken, but I just don't think in cold. I don't know what the weather's supposed to be like. Obviously, outside in Cincinnati tomorrow night, we'll see how Peyton does. Cincinnati's defense has been pretty good recently. Dalton's been meh, like he always has been. But sooner or later, one of these big games, he's had 6, 7, 8 of them primetime games in the playoffs where he hasn't done very much. He's going to have a decent game one of these times. I think tomorrow night's that night. I think A.J. Green goes off pretty big. That Denver secondary still doesn't do much for me. Yeah, Talib's okay, but other than that, they're pretty sketchy in my opinion. Cincinnati's offensive line is pretty solid. They should be able to keep DeMarcus Ware Von Miller off of Dalton. I still think Peyton gets it done, assuming that they have any semblance of a running game like they have the last few weeks. It's probably going to be a pretty high-scoring game, but I think I have it like 34-31 Denver.
52 degrees, 52 tomorrow. 52 tomorrow for a high.
Okay.
Philip Rivers, for the record, 7 children, and he is a Catholic from Decatur, Alabama.
And also, for the record, Philip Rivers has a herniated disc in his back. He needs surgery. You guys probably saw that, but that's no good.
Tony Romo needs surgery. He's doing okay.
Everybody needs surgery. Everybody's hurt now. They played 17,000 games. Everybody's hurt. So.
Fuck him. Let's play 18. Let's play 18 games. That way Detroit can miss the playoffs.
With an injury, he's going to need some bed rest, and he's already got 7 kids, so he might as well start getting the next one prepared. I mean, with all the bed rest, he's going to need something to do.
His wife is kind of ugly too, to be honest.
Did he go to the Clayton Kershaw woman class here? What's going on?
Yeah, it's about in that range. I still can't get over the fact that Clayton Kershaw is married to that. I want to use hog, but I'm going to. But anyways, it's a shot at Miss Ellen Kershaw. I don't get if I'm 26 years old. 3 Cy Youngs or whatever it is, and signing a massive contract. I think I'd pan the sea for better options, kind of like Russell Wilson did. Divorced his wife. He's out there getting some action in Seattle. So, anyways, tangent over with, but she's not very attractive. I'm kind of disappointed in Philip.
You're saying Rivers' wife is a little bit of a slagathor?
Exactly. That's exactly what I'm saying.
Well, when you make as much money as Russell Wilson does from the American Family Insurance commercials, I think you gotta say, okay, we're done. I don't know why they're not sponsoring them. I'm not quite sure, but they're not. So that's disappointing. Sports Lounge Network. Any interest in a Ugly Wives show? They got all the wives shows. You got a Clayton Kershaw can be part of it. You got a Philip Rivers. I don't know anybody else. Come to mind as Ugly Wives are concerned.
We should do the Ugly Wives one show. We should do the Most Beautiful Wives one show. We take up probably a half hour each week. It'd be kind of fun. I could head it up. I got about 20 names on the top of my head already.
Very good. For the
Side
good or the
note
bad.
on that, what I think would be fun is if you just take it and then you don't, like, someone researches and finds like 20 of each that nobody knows. Like someone who most people wouldn't know the wife, and then you have to guess if they've got a hot or an unattractive wife.
Nice. We can do the picture thing where we can share the pictures if we can figure that out. So that'd be
There we go.
I wouldn't say you're wrong on Philip Rivers.
You just look up a picture. Yeah, she's not great.
Yeah, it's. I don't ever like to say anything too terrible, and I think I said on the show I don't think Ellen Kershaw is that bad looking. That's just me. But this isn't great here for Philip Rivers.
Tiffany Rivers?
Wife. Would you run those 2 shows back? I think you would have to, wouldn't you?
You may as well.
Which show goes first?
Say the good-looking ones because you don't want to run the viewers off right away. You want to
I think Ugly goes first because it's a good lead.
Here's what you do. You put them on separate nights. First couple weeks, you see which one draws the most viewers. The one that draws the most viewers, you put that one on first. You get the nice lead in. That's what you do.
All right.
There you go. You mentioned the San Francisco 49ers, and they hate their coach. And Jim Harbaugh rumored to be going to Michigan for upwards of $50 million. Mr. Hildebrand, we go to you for the college game. Michigan and Jim Harbaugh. Will this happen? Will this happen?
I'm not saying it can't happen. As of right now, I'm not going to believe it until he's introduced in the press conference, with the biggest reason being that he's done this in the past. There have been rumors floated out, and all of a sudden he gets a big pay raise. I'm assuming he's probably going to try to use the Michigan job as leverage to get more from Chicago or the Oakland Raiders. I'm not saying it can't happen. If he could, it'd be great for Michigan. It'd be great for the Big Ten. It'd be great for Michigan and Ohio State, their rivalry. But a lot of this is speculation, but I just get the sense that, he's come so close to winning the Super Bowl that he's just going to be like, I'm not going to go back until I win one or I get fired from wherever he goes next.
Anybody think he's going?
Going to Michigan, I have my doubts. David, I do still believes that he's going to Michigan. I don't know if we talk about radio shows that we do like. I have taken a liking to the Scott Van Pelt and Russillo show.
Good.
And they mentioned earlier this week that he did this with the Dolphins, which I didn't remember. But there was a big number that, like $5 million before coaches were getting paid $5 million. And he was rumored to go to Miami, and that didn't happen. And then he negotiated a pay raise or ended up at San Francisco or whatever it ended up being. So he's done this before, and it was Harbaugh himself who fed that number to the media. I'm not saying I don't know if that's the case now, but there is a track record of that happening, because $8 million even at Michigan doesn't make a lot of sense. I guess unless it's Harbaugh, but I just don't see them paying $8 million, even though they have a lot of money. That just doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I'm not sure who the coach is going to be, but I think Harbaugh picks a spot in the NFL, whether that's Oakland or wherever.
I think there's two options, and I'm pretty set in my opinion that he's going to Michigan. I did make mention a few weeks ago to Traxler, and I alluded to it about 3 months ago at the beginning of the season that was a very likely option if Michigan season went the way it did, that we kind of expected that it would. I think it's about 95% that he goes to Michigan. The reason I say that is because there's no indication to me from ownership that they're not going to, obviously, they're exploring trading him to other franchises. I don't think he wants to go to Oakland. It would make sense, though, that he wouldn't have to move out of his house where he's at now. They would have to give up quite a few assets. He would be determining what they would be giving up, which is a kind of a unique factor in the team that he would be going to. He'd be deciding, what's he willing to give up and go here, even in compensation for the coach leaving. Chicago is just kind of a bullshit story, in my opinion. Glazer, I think, was the one that was on that. I think that's Harbaugh's camp, trying to drive up the price even more to wherever he's going to go next. Chicago makes absolutely no sense to me. Michigan, they're going to throw the money at him. Yeah, that $8 million a year kind of is a fabricated report. I don't think it's quite that high. I don't think Harbaugh necessarily, he's not in it for the money. If he goes back, Michigan guy per se or whatever, a very, very good coach. He won at Stanford. You'll have 10 times the ability to recruit to Michigan with the academic standards not, so ungodly high. I think it's a perfect fit. If he does go, I want him to go, and I want him and Urban Meyer to, have a 5 or 10 year period, Michigan, Ohio State, and bring that rivalry back to what it needs to be.
To David's point, one of the great parts of that rivalry, which I think is overrated, especially now considering that it's not a rivalry between those two teams because Ohio State is much better, but they had that 10-year war, which was in the 70s when you had Woody Hayes versus Bo Schembechler, and that was kind of what everybody thinks of when you talk Michigan and Ohio State. And if Harbaugh went to Michigan, I think the 10-year war would be back, because it wouldn't take long for Harbaugh to rebuild Michigan into a true competitor. I think it'd be fun, even though I like a different team in the Big Ten. And the one thing I guess that is interesting about Harbaugh, and I guess I didn't know the thing about him kind of setting his own compensation if he were to be traded to some other team, but I just if you're San Francisco, I think you want something for him, and if you trade him to Michigan, you can't get anything for him.
What would that? How would that work with Michigan? How would that work? San Francisco, they got to let him out here.
And they're going to let him go. I don't think the ownership has been sour since the beginning of the season, according to various reports. They haven't said anything different. There's a 7-8 football team. They've kind of been wearing thin even when they've been winning. Now that they're not, in the playoffs this year, they're looking elsewhere. I would be absolutely stunned if he was, didn't get this. I think I saw something this morning. Within 24 or 48 hours of the season, they're going to make a decision. That indicates to me that the decision's already been made for weeks, that he's done no matter what happens. I think.
I agree. I agree that he's done in San Francisco. It's just a matter that I think that if he goes to Michigan, don't the 49ers want something for that? Don't they? I just didn't think they were going to let him go scot-free. They were going to negotiate this in some manner where they got something out of this.
They wouldn't be able. he's free to. Is he not free to walk away? I know he has 1 year left on his deal.
I don't know. Yeah, maybe he is. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that there's a option for him, and it makes it even more complicated the fact that they could fire him. If they don't fire him, he's going to walk, very likely, because he knows that the ownership is not there. They're not going to renew him after next year anyways. The whole situation has been, for me, pretty cut and dry, and I don't know that you guys might have different opinions, but there's no way for me that he stays fired no matter what he does next year, assuming that option is true from everything that I've been reading and hearing. Why wouldn't he go back to the college game, or why wouldn't he? The thing about Oakland, and that's why I said about 95% chance Michigan, 5% Oakland. The thing about Oakland is if he can somehow negotiate a deal that doesn't give up enough for the Raiders, it would be quite beneficial for him to, in a sense that he wouldn't have to offer his family right now. He's got a couple young kids, if I'm not mistaken, that whole 9 yards. His wife has already agreed that if he does want to go back to Michigan, he can. Long story short here, I know I'm rambling, but he has to go to Michigan. I want to see it so bad. It would make so much sense. The money's there. He's going to Michigan. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong, but fuck it.
Would there be anything? Oh, go ahead.
So where has his trade thing come from then? Because if he can just leave scot-free and he can put the boots to ownership.
He would be giving up obviously that $5 or $6 million that he's due from San Francisco next year. And no, it's not that much. He'd be giving up that money. He would be effectively saying, no, I quit. I'm buying out of my contract. You keep the money, and maybe he has to pay the team $1 million or $2 million the fact that he's quitting or whatever it is.
Okay.
No, Schefter, Mortensen, all those guys, all the guys from CBS, nobody knows the true details of that contract, which I find amazing. That hasn't been released, and that's the only hold up in this whole situation is that nobody knows what that contract says. That's why there's so many different options being floated right now.
Would there be anything funnier if things kept leaking out about he'd go to Michigan? All the Michigan fans get so excited about it. It turns out he's been playing them the whole time. Michigan panics. They need to hire someone quickly. The only guy available they can hire. It turns out their next head coach is Charlie Weiss then. Nice. And then they have to pretend like that's who they wanted the entire time.
How about Jim Tressel? How about Mr. Tressel? Come on.
That'd be fun.
I think Michigan's kind of screwed here. If they don't get Harbaugh, you wasted a lot of time, waiting on Harbaugh, and if you somehow don't get him, that definitely lends a lot of credence to what David's saying because
I got a name for you if they swing and miss on Harbaugh. If Harbaugh stays in the NFL, and this is going to come out of left field, and you guys are probably going to think I'm absolutely crazy.
Dan Mullen.
No, that's the second option. That's the
Justin Fuente
option. No, in a couple of years, maybe. It's going to be special. Marcus, you should like him. He's Gary Patterson underling, per se, or whatever. He was under him for a few years. But anyways, the name is Chip Kelly. Think about it.
Chip Kelly. The Florida job's no longer available. All the money in the world that he wants. His show cause penalty is up. Wouldn't have to deal with the NFL being the way it is. He loves the college game. The reason he left is because he knew the penalties were coming against him for the violations in Oregon. Go back, go to Michigan, fuck Urban Meyer, and then more there too. He's going to be at Michigan. He's going to be at an Oklahoma. He's going to be at a big name school within 3 years. And it might not be this year, but he's going to be back in college and very quickly. I'm 100% confident of it.
It could happen. The only thing with that I think makes it tough is I would imagine a lot of college guys, if they succeed in the NFL, start really liking that they don't have to worry about recruiting every single day of every single year. And I would imagine a lot of this is great that I don't have to deal with 17-year-old kids anymore. And I'm not saying he can't. I just think it's going to be tough to find a lot of coaches to start willingly leave the NFL to go back to college if they don't get fired.
Could I add another piece to the Chip Kelly to Michigan puzzle?
Sure.
Braxton Miller, Michigan quarterback.
Boom.
I don't think that's going to happen. I think if you're at Ohio State, I think you'd have a hard time going to Michigan.
He's not going to stay.
No, I think he'll go somewhere else. But
how about what?
Maybe, Barrett out now. Maybe Barrett will be out long enough that he could just take over in the spring, and he might not have to. There's going to be all sorts of weird stuff with Ohio State now.
That's going to be a weird thing to watch, yeah.
That's a very good problem to have, though, as you guys know very well. To have those three guys there potentially next year, or those two guys back. Miller's not going to be there. I think Barrett will be fine. I think Braxton, the first place that everyone thought of was Oregon. That's probably not going to happen, but he'll wind up at somewhere, and he'll wind up probably playing at an ACC school or something next year.
Dak Prescott's a junior. I don't think he'll be worth two shits in the NFL, but if he were to leave early, is that a spot?
Yeah, I don't necessarily think that he would be opposed to that. I think from Braxton's point of view, I think he's looking where he can win, and I think Mississippi State does have a roster where that he'd plug in and be able to play. He's not going to go to some podunk, middle of the road shitty school out in the whack or anything.
Middle Tennessee State, here we go.
Yeah, take them to their first 8-win season since 1954, but I still can't get over the fact that your fucking Gophers went there and played them a couple years ago. Fuck you.
Let's not talk about it.
Where'd they go? Middle Tennessee?
They went to New Mexico State last year.
And they went to Middle Tennessee.
I'm surprised the whole team didn't get murdered and fucking lost curses. Jesus Christ.
To be fair, they were supposed to play Texas Tech, and they just made a wrong turn, and that's how they ended up playing in New Mexico.
Or how about when they bought out of the fucking North Carolina series?
Yeah,
Good God.
About it. They should have played them.
Thank you.
That's how I feel about it. I made that pretty clear.
Very good.
I'm missing this. Where did Chip Kelly and Gary Patterson coach together?
No, Justin Fuente.
Oh, okay.
He's a Gary Patterson underling per se.
Okay.
Next week, we do not know the anything else. Okay, we do not know the Sunday night game next week. I'm in favor of Carolina Atlanta because that's tremendous. You got Green Bay, Detroit. You got Pittsburgh and Cincinnati. You got San Diego, Kansas City. I know David's high on the Detroit Green Bay matchup. Is there a favorite, do you think, right now?
I would like to back off what I said on the chat, though, because the more I think about it, I think Marcus is onto something with Cincinnati, Pittsburgh. If one of those two teams has potential to get in, one of them has potential to miss the playoffs altogether, which I think is still technically possible.
Yeah, Pittsburgh's in. Cincinnati, if they were to lose, I think that would help.
Right. So I see where Marcus is coming from with that, and I kind of do agree now that I think about it for more than 10 seconds.
All right, now that you agree with me, I'll move to something else. If they because they can't wait till tomorrow night because I think
it'll be announced tonight, right? Tonight.
They'll announce it tonight, so you can't wait till Cincinnati plays tomorrow night. I think that makes a pretty big difference in your decision. And so I think Carolina, Atlanta, that's your safe bet for.
Oh boy!
For one of those teams is going to get in, one of them's not. And I think I haven't looked this up, but in every time they've done this, they want a game where they know that that's going to be a win-and-in scenario. I would like it to be Cincinnati-Pittsburgh because I think that's going to be a really good game, and they love. Obviously, the NFL loves Pittsburgh, and they love to have them on TV. So
Trex, here's the deal. If it's Carolina, Atlanta. When I see you next Monday night, I'll buy you all your favorite candy, the popcorn, the pop, whatever you want to drink. I'll buy you $50 worth of shit. If it's Carolina, Atlanta, I will drive to NBC, the headquarters, and I will do something very regrettable.
Take a shit on their front step.
Right on the
yeah.
Well,
yes.
There you go. Okay.
I will freak out.
I
really
just like
that you said do something very regrettable. It's vague enough, but also specific enough that it really leaves your options wide open.
Exactly. But anyway, what's your favorite candy, by the way? I gotta get this.
I think my favorite
If you say Snickers, I'll punch your balls out. Don't do it.
On the show. And we were it was not on the show. It was in the chat, and everybody's wondering what the hell Three Musketeers were. And I wasn't. Yeah. I had something to do that day, and so I wasn't by the chat. But I do like Three Musketeers. Snickers, I feel like are pretty overrated. My favorite movie theater box of candy is Whoppers. Love Whoppers.
Okay. I'll buy you like a 5-pound box somewhere. I'll figure it out.
5-pound box, for God's sake. That's for sure.
We're gonna have some fun anyways, regardless. So
sounds good.
Good.
You all are invited. Mike Miller Classic.
When is this?
Next Monday.
Next Monday?
Yep.
The 29th?
Yes.
About 4 or 5 future NBAers potentially in the building.
We'll discuss that.
Okay.
Very good. The college pick'em got off to one hell of a goddamn great start. 5 games, 5 terrible games. The last one was entertaining at the end. Lafayette does what they do. They win at the New Orleans Bowl for the 10th year in a row. Utah beat the shit out of Colorado State in their shitty orange uniforms. Utah State, everybody went big in on them, and they did well. And Air Force beat Western Michigan. So it was a fun day of bowl games. I have two questions here. Mr. Schottenkirk put 31 points on South Alabama. Why did you put that many points on South Alabama? Regardless of your USA, you bleed the red, white, and the blue. We understand this, but regardless of that.
That was a simple miscommunication between my fiance and I. I had texted her to put 13 points on South Alabama, and she moved them to 31. I don't know, for whatever reason. I checked my text; it clearly said 13. She went 31, and then I watched the end of that game and checked when I got home about 4 o'clock this morning. And needless to say, I wanted to punch a wall. But anyways.
Okay. But Mr. Stacken, probably not joining us, but somehow my other question was, how the hell did he put 32 on Bowling Green? Christ's sake, he had like a 7-6 team and a 6-6 team and a 7-5 team, and it came down to the final minutes. How the hell do you put 32 points on Bowling Green? It worked out for him somehow.
The sports block must have really gotten into Matt games on Tuesday since we left, I guess.
The best part of the bowls is you're picking between two teams you've never seen before. So that's a whole hell of a lot of fun. He put 39 on Utah State. Everybody went big on Utah State. Charlie Hildebrand only put 6. I go to Mr. Hildebrand. Why only 6 on the Aggies instead of the big points?
This is my knowledge of Utah State, that they are in Logan, they're the Aggies, they had Chucky Keaton at the start of the year and he got hurt. That was all I knew about them.
I believe they are down to their 3rd or 4th string quarterbacks.
This was their fourth quarterback that won in the game.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to be gutsy, I think you can make a lot of points on these early games if you really want to delve into it and figure stuff out. I just kind of go, I'll pick this team and put it at 7 points. This way I don't feel bad if I get it wrong.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like this is an eternal Bowl Mania pick'em question. Conundrum, yeah. You know more about the teams that play later. So I think the next 4 games I don't have a lot of points on any of them.
Nope.
Because I feel like they're all pretty evenly matched.
Tomorrow, max it, house it on Memphis. I'm telling you.
You're maxing it on Memphis.
I have Memphis, but not for a ton of points.
I've got them for 32 or something.
Wow. All right, I like that.
I got them for a fair amount.
Yeah, and I think we're in the minority. I think David has switched a lot of people onto Memphis, and so I'm guessing we'll have it pretty much even on who picks BYU, who picks Memphis, because I think nationally BYU I think will have the majority of the pick.
Mm-hmm.
So that'll be interesting to watch. But you know more, so you feel a little bit more awkward about putting 25 points on some of these games where you know the two teams, you know it's going to be close. I don't recall how much I have on the Rose Bowl, but that's a game where you've got 19 or 20, even though that could be a fairly close game. And there's a couple other games that are like that. It's just you know less about them, so you've got to put them further down.
And to Kriens' point, too, about that USA Bowling Green game, and nobody had seen those teams play more than just a few snaps on highlights or whatever, that's very true. And to the other point of that, that's why I'm housing on Memphis, because as you guys know, I've watched 80% of every game so far this year. I feel confident. I've seen BYU enough. It is the teams that you do kind of fall in love with, or random teams that you happen to see 4 or 5 times. Oh, my God, it's true. You kidding me? The man, the myth, the legend.
Goddamn, son, goddamn.
I'm back! I'm back, baby! I'm back!
Right. Very good. Is this bigger? Is this bigger than Sting? Is this bigger than Sting? Yes or no?
Well, I'm not getting teared up, but it's close.
Good.
This is bigger than if Wrestling Sting and Music Sting sang a Christmas duet together.
Whoa.
Right.
Whoa. Mr. Aman, welcome to the lounge.
Hi.
Hello. Hello.
Keep us going.
Was that a golf pee?
That was a Q-tip, Marcus.
It was white. I'm like, oh.
Yeah, whatever.
We put in your ears. Q-tips. Hi.
Aman, you better have the biggest trades in history ready to go.
Yeah, no, I don't have that ready.
God damn it.
I'm sorry.
Looking at the pick'em, Mr. Traxler, Ed Orgeron's Hummer. Could you humor me once with a little bit of your Ed Orgeron? I know you've been working on it. It's not bad.
Well, I coached at Ole Miss, and things didn't go very well. But I got Michael. I went after Michael Orr, and then I followed USG, and took over after Kiffin. Brought some guys in and out. We had a lot of fun. We won some games. It's a shame that Pat Hayden wouldn't keep me. But football got my room.
Your Ed Orgeron and your Fat Albert are mixing together.
Some of that.
Who? And one more question for Ed Orgeron: who needs a Hummer and who's got a Hummer?
You gotta be tough. You gotta be physical, and that's what a Hummer does.
Okay.
You tell him, JoJo.
JoJo's got some. Very good. So Mr. Stacken showed his balls are bigger than ours. Put 32 on Bowling Green. Put 39 on Utah State. Not surprising. He put 20 on Lafayette. Everybody else 6 and under on Lafayette. He puts 20.
Jackass move putting 32 on Bowling Green.
Stones on him.
Sure.
What did you think of the new little score bug? For some reason, they're going to use this during the New Year's Bowl games, apparently, and they dusted off for Lafayette and Nevada.
I fucking loved it. I don't know what you guys are complaining about. I think it looks really good. I don't think it's that big. I think it's a little bit more modern. I think it works. I don't think they needed to change, but I'm not as outraged as Draxler and you appeared to be yesterday.
I came around on it. I like it now, and I was disappointed that they did not use it for every game. So it doesn't take up as much space.
I thought it was going to be an every game thing too. Once I settled in with it, I thought it was fine. Change is hard always. So the one thing I would like to see is them to put it behind the offense, or I feel like that can sometimes be distracting. Maybe it'd be more distracting to have it, because there's always a possibility, I guess, that you can cover up a receiver, and you don't want to do that. But
very good. I like that very much. Other games, you had Mac Brown doing it. Apparently, this is the first time I've heard Mac Brown do a football game. I thought he was pretty good. Mr. Aman, Colorado State, they added orange to the uniform. I generally like orange. Orange and green, is that a good mix? Because I thought that looked pretty shit.
No, it's not good. I liked what you remarked about how it made them look like a Florida A&M.
They did.
And no, not good. I don't know if that's a permanent fix, but no. Thumbs down. That game was terrible, and the uniforms are worse.
I wish I had more hands so I could give those jerseys 4 thumbs down.
Very good. Very good. There was college basketball on Saturday. A pretty good finish to the Villanova-Syracuse game on Fox with Gus Johnson on the call. They had snowflakes on the bottom. They had like 4 big snowflakes on the bottom of the screen. They also had snowflakes falling down. Why? I mean, what's the purpose of this? This was a poor decision by all accounts and unnecessary. Who the hell says this is a good idea?
Easy answer. They had no clue what they were doing because they got hacked by the North Korean assholes.
Ooh, very good.
Wow.
Not bad. I bet.
I thought it was interesting because they also had this for hockey. They had, they have a little score box in the top, and they had snowflakes very in the corner. So I guess it was less imposing, but I hated it nonetheless. And then today, we got the NFL, and normally they got like the Christmas lights or whatever on there. They didn't have any of that. So
good. You don't need any of that.
I don't know what's the rhyme or reason? Like the NFL has that almost every year. You get used to it. This was pretty atrocious.
I hope the hell they don't have it next week, but you don't need that crap. That's why Christmas just oversaturation too much.
Okay, explain what the snowflakes were, because I never did see it.
They had like 2 snowflakes on the left corner, 2 snowflakes, like big snowflakes that were there permanently, and then in the lower third where the score is at, they had like little white dots falling. That was snow, and this went on the entire game. I've never seen anything like this before. Quite unnecessary. A very Fox thing to do. So
not good.
It was just a subtle way of letting everybody know that Gus Johnson does crack.
There you go. Keep your nose clean, kids.
How do you think he stays so excited all the time?
Exactly.
Yeah. They had the CBS Sports Classic. I don't know if this is going to be a thing every year. They had North Carolina versus Ohio State, and they had the bloodbath known as UCLA versus Kentucky. That was fun to watch. Whenever UCLA scored, it really sucked because I wanted it to be like 40, 50-6. They win 83-44. The more important thing is they had these giant logos on the 4 corners of the court. Again, CBS going with big logos. Mr. Traxler, was this a good idea?
It didn't seem great because the center court logo was also huge, and it seemed. Here's the most frustrating part, I feel like. They had CBS Sports Classic on the baseline, and one of the letters, I forget which one, like the lip of it was over the end line, and I imagine that might have been, distracting if you're the referee.
Is that out of bounds?
Yeah. So the line was there, but it was in a different color than what the rest of the line was all the way around the court. I feel like it was probably a waste of money to purchase that court if you're CBS.
I would say so. There's a big-time college basketball matchup coming up next Saturday. It is Kentucky at Louisville. Mr. Schottenkirk, who loses this game?
Who loses the game? Louisville. Kentucky's on a different planet right now. Calipari has them playing like it's April already, which in a lot of ways is really good. In a lot of ways could be really bad because they are setting themselves up to be, if they get by next Saturday, they absolutely should not lose a game in the SEC regular season. They should be, we'll see what happens. But they get by Louisville, the chatter that I've been, banging the drum since the end of last year's championship game, after the Harrison twins announced they were coming back with what they had coming with the recruiting class, the drum and the steam on the undefeated season will pick up immensely if they get past Louisville next Saturday. And I think rightly so because they've been unbelievably good. They're unbelievably long. Calipari hasn't played together already. There's 9 NBA guys. They don't give a shit who scores. They don't give it. They want to win. And at this early juncture of the season, this is setting up to be something pretty special.
I don't know if they're going to go undefeated just because it's easy to lose a conference road game and a game where you're off or something. This seems to be the best team since that North Carolina Tyler Hansborough team that in the NCAA tournament beat everybody by double digits. That if they show up with their B-plus game, there's nothing you can do, and you might as well leave the stadium early because you're going to get run out of the gym.
There's 2 teams right now. If Kentucky plays the way they have been, if they're going to play that way the rest of the season, there's 2 other teams that stand a chance. Duke, Arizona. Nobody else has the matchup. Nobody else has the guards to potentially get them off with the bigs. You got Okafor at Duke. You got several bigs at Arizona. It is, it's December. A lot can happen. A few injuries here and there or whatever. We'll see. But it's already, and I've already got it narrowed down to about 6 teams that have any sort of chance to win the title.
I think I'm really looking forward to a Kentucky-Duke national championship game. I hope that's what happens because I I can't believe I'm saying this. I really like Duke. I think they are, in a normal year, we would be fawning over them as being the best team. But you've got Kentucky that's just out of this world right now. And so if those two teams were to meet in the title, and let's say they have maybe 2 more losses between them the rest of the way, or if you have an undefeated Kentucky all the way to the title game, I'm just wondering, when was the last time there's been a college basketball championship game that would receive that much hype, that, you know, between the two best teams being in the title game?
Yeah.
I would say last time the 2 best teams met was 2005 with Illinois and North Carolina.
Right. And the talent level on those teams, looking back and looking forward right now,
Not good.
yeah, it does not compare to what Kentucky Duke would be this year. But that definitely, I was just going to say, that definitely was the last year that I can remember that clearly the 2 best teams were in the title game.
Corey Brewer, right? Oh, no. Florida.
Oh, no. No. Speaking of Corey Brewer, Mr. Aman, more important, more significant trade, Rajon Rondo to Dallas, or all these goddamn moves San Diego made?
He's got Rondo.
You really Rondo?
Rondo's more important than everything San Diego did. Wow.
Okay. Rajon Rondo traded last year of his contract to the Dallas Mavericks for the all-star lineup of Brandon Wright, Jay Crowder, Jameer Nelson, and some draft picks. Boston, a little light on draft picks, only 7 dozen in the next 5 years. First-round pick coming up next year, second-rounder in 2 years, also a $13 million trade exception. People say that this makes Dallas the best starting lineup in the league. They are still the 5 seed, 3.5 games out, tied with Houston for the 4 seed. Does this increase your expectations for Dallas? Does it put them in the top 2 or 3? Because last week we kind of went through the deal there: San Antonio, Golden State, Memphis. Does this elevate Dallas to a Western Conference final team that you expect?
I think it helps on a number of levels. They already had arguably the best offense in the league. Rondo's a very underrated defensive player, which would be key come the playoff series. He'll get you, if he's not scoring, he'll get you rebounds. He'll get you 8, 10, 12 assists every night. I think it's going to take a little bit of time, but Rick Carlisle is one of the smarter minds in the game. A piece like that with what he already has, he'll find a way to use it. And at this rate and the way that they, the pieces are coming together, if they stay healthy, Parsons, Dirk, Tyson Chandler, Rajon, it would be very disappointing if they didn't make the Western Conference Finals.
I'd make an argument that they're maybe the second best team in the West, despite being 5th. I'll give Golden State the top spot. They've been lights out. I think they're better than Portland. I like them better than Memphis. Let's see who.
Spurs.
Houston's really good. I think they're a little bit better than Houston.
Spurs.
And, yeah, I mean, I'm not going to count out the Spurs at all. I think, I probably would still put the Spurs in the Western Conference Finals. I mean, but that is a long ways away. I like Dallas a lot. I would say, for the Vegas odds to move as much as they did, I think that was pretty justified.
And to put a lot of context on that, to go from 12-1 to 8-1 as soon as that deal was made official, that is a massive, absolutely massive move. And there's already some places now dropping it to 6-1, which is, it cuts your odds in half within a few days. That doesn't happen in Vegas unless they see something, unless their computer projections, unless all their smart guys out there see this as potentially a championship-making move. I think there is a lot to it, and again, Vegas, it can be wrong, but usually they're not this wrong. So if Dallas stays healthy, they're going to be a lot of fun to watch.
Marcus Traxler, would you assume that Dallas signs Rondo in the offseason or before the end of this year?
I feel like they will. I mean, Rondo, he didn't have a no-trade clause, but you basically, when you can hold over the team, hey, I'm not going to sign with you if you trade me there, That's like having a no trade clause in a lot of ways because Dallas just isn't going to do that deal. So I would feel like there's probably going to be a re-signing at the end of the year for Rondo.
Okay. We also had some movement this week, finally, in the NBA Championship title belt series. Golden State finally lost to Memphis. Memphis won in 3 overtimes versus San Antonio. And then Jim Butler and the Bulls, they go to Memphis. They beat Memphis. So the Chicago Bulls, your title holder at this point, the 4 seed in the East. And I believe this is the first Eastern Conference team we've had hold the title?
I think so.
There you go. So, well, how do you sum up that run Golden State had? Fortunate for us that they had the title belt and they went on that big long losing streak. Drue Aman, do you like Steve Kerr as the coach? He seems like a good guy. Drue Aman, 2 Drue Amans, a fake Aman. Is this a fake sting? The fake sting has come. What's going on here? We'll go to Charlie Hildebrand. Steve Kerr, former announcer, former GM of the Suns, sounds like a good guy.
Seems reasonable so far. I mean, I think that they could go quite a ways. I like the run they had holding the belt. You know, it really reminded me of the way Rocky Marciano held the heavyweight title belt so long in boxing. I don't know. I don't want to get too far ahead of myself about how far they're going to go, but I certainly like their odds this year.
I would say the big thing is their defense, 97 points a game. That's pretty goddamn good. So they can score 107. They can score more than anybody, but their defense also better than it has been. Mr. Aman, your thoughts on Steve Kerr as the head coach? He seems like a different than other head coaches. He'll say what he means. He'll say, hey, why are you so good? It's because I got a bunch of good players. It's not really anything that I'm doing. He seems like a straightforward guy, which is good to see.
I think he's an absolute A+. And, like, his route to his first head coaching job is really interesting. I mean, what's a guy who was a GM briefly, long time and well-liked broadcaster, and then finally gets, a head coaching job. I thought it was perfect. I mean, this is an era now where guys are getting head coaching jobs immediately after their career. I mean, Derek Fisher, are you kidding me? I hated that move from day one.
He can run the triangle. He knows the shapes. He knows the shapes.
Right. Goddamn. We'll put him on the fucking roster then. So yeah, obviously I like Steve Kerr a lot. Is Steph Curry? Is he an MVP candidate?
Yep.
Nope.
No. Is Klay Thompson an MVP candidate?
Nope. They're taking away from each other's MVP candidacy, in my opinion. Both guys are, Curry's arguably a top 10 player. Thompson's on his way up the ladder as well, but I don't think that either one of them right now are MVP candidates. I think there's 3 guys that are in the conversation right now.
Who do we got?
Take a guess.
LeBron James.
Davis, maybe?
And Nate Walters.
Nate Walters
No,
with the 7 minutes he's played this year. I'll say somebody like a John Wall. How about John Wall?
Okay, well, 3 guys, and one of them's your guy, because contextually
Jim Butler? Is it Jim Butler?
Right now,
Goddamn.
as of December 22nd, or whatever the fuck the date is, I think he has to be in everybody's top 5. It's not going to last.
Good.
Some research and numbers after you've been on him for obviously a few weeks, and we made it back and forth. He's been phenomenal. He's been the reason the Bulls have been winning. He's come and right now he definitely deserves to be in the conversation. Will it last? Absolutely not. The 2 that I think are at the top of the list right now are LeBron and Anthony Davis. The Pelicans, Hornets, whatever you want to fucking call them, if they're going to step back. But with the numbers he's putting up, I think LeBron, the points aren't there, but he's still second in the league. His assists are up this year. I think it's his to lose. Durant could have a say if he stays healthy from here on out, but it's your usual suspects atop the list.
I think Dwight Howard's been really good this year. I don't know if he's way up there, but he's been pretty good. So's James Harden.
James Harden is the most overrated athlete in all professional sports.
Is James Harden the left-handed Carmelo Anthony?
He wishes he was.
He wishes he was that good already.
Correct.
No.
He wishes he could get offered free lap dances for the rest of his career.
Jim Butler, I don't know what last year, 2 years ago, whenever they played the Nets in the playoffs, and this son of a bitch played the entire game. I think 3 games in a row. He played 48 minutes. He plays more minutes than anybody. He was a very good defender. He's still a very good defender. He can shoot the ball now. 20 points a game. Tremendous. So they better offer him the max contract this offseason. They better sign this son of a gun up because he's been really good. So you got to sign this guy.
I have no memory of him at Marquette.
Neither do I. I never heard of him until I never heard of the guy.
Yeah.
Until he came to the Bulls. So it's good to see him develop into something. So that's been really exciting. And as we wrap up the NBA coverage, Philadelphia apparently won a game. I don't know who the hell they beat, but they won another game. And Boston with this trade, they're the 8th seed right now. And I had said, this was I never heard anything about this. Of all the talk with the Dallas trade, that's fine that they traded Rondo, but they're the 8th seed right now. So definitely in the conversation to win 38 games and make the playoffs. So
it is interesting that Brad Stevens out there with the Celtics. That was out of left field when that happened. But now that I think about it, now that I've seen him there for a year and a half, I think he has the potential to be a really, really, really good coach because he's going to have talent in the next few years. He's got time to build. He's already proven that he can connect with the guys, and they've exceeded the expectations this year. Obviously, getting rid of Rondo is going to halt any sort of playoff aspirations as far as being anything other than potentially a sneaky 8 seed or whatever. But I think he does deserve a hell of a lot more credit than what he's getting right now because he's doing a lot of things I didn't think he would do.
You know what I will like is if Boston gives him the time. I mean, in a lot of ways, when you try to rebuild, they get anxious or something happens and they blow it up again. And I feel like Boston is prepared to let him build the team, let the team be built. I think that could be good to see, just to see a team, especially in the NBA, get built from scratch again with a really smart guy like Stevens at the helm.
I'm interested to see how these draft picks turn out in the next 3-4 years. Who they get, if they trade. Maybe they lump them all to get a big star. If they trade up in the draft, I'm interested to see how this ends up here. See if they can hit on a guy or two.
Smoke them if you got them.
Well, they got them, so they're smoking them. So, baseball. Before we get into our historic trades, baseball. San Diego Padres. At this time last week, they had traded for Will Myers, a very disappointing second year for Tampa Bay. They then traded for Matt Kemp and his hips. His hips are no good. They also traded for Justin Upton since the Braves just seem to say, we don't give a shit. Because the big thing now, you got to get ready for the stadium. They're opening up a new stadium, and apparently they want to be good then, even though they're good right now. So they got to be bad before they're good again, which I could give 2 shits how good you are when you open up a new stadium. I don't care at all. So that's their outfield. Justin Upton, they can put Will Myers at first base. Outstanding pitching with Tyson Ross, Andrew Kashner. Their offense, the worst in the league. Mr. Aman, I think this is tremendous. Tremendous move. We'll see how it ends up. You believe they're a 500 team next year?
I still think that they come a little short in the wild card, maybe by 4 or 5 games. Can you expect more than 90 games out of Matt Kemp? I mean, nope. I think you got to see him. You have to see him do it because I don't think that'll work out. And Will Myers isn't really the sure thing that he probably was 2 seasons ago. That's a former Rookie of the Year. I think you probably know what you're going to get with Justin Upton. If he's healthy, he's probably going to hit you 20 to 25 homers and hit 275. I mean, he's a good, decent player. I don't see the emergence of the Padres starting next year.
Can I say that they are the anti-Blue Jays?
The anti-Blue Jays?
Yes.
Why?
Because they are the San Diego Padres are a terrible offensive team. They hit somewhere around like 120 for an entire month. Their pitching is good. It's very good. They needed offense, so they got offense. Toronto needed pitching, so they got offense.
I don't think the Blue Jays needed pitching as badly as the Padres needed offense.
No.
So yeah, I mean, they're smart moves by San Diego. I do like what Toronto's done this winter too, but yeah, I got to give the Padres a lot of credit.
I'm going to go on a limb here and say that the most influential trade, at least early on right now, correct me if I'm wrong, but they got Derek Norris out of Oakland, didn't they?
Yeah.
I think for the first few months, that is going to be the bigger move than all the outfield signings as far as handling the pitching staff and whatnot, getting it, they have a lot of talent, they have a lot of arms down there. I don't like that they traded Jesse Hahn, I can tell you that right now.
No.
Yeah. Travis has been pretty high on him for a while. I don't like that move per se, but Derek Norris, he is what he is. He should be okay, but like I said, with those arms getting down there, Petco Park's obviously not a hitter's ballpark. Upton should be fine. It's going to be interesting who they put in center because Kemp's injury history, like you guys were talking about. Will Myers had like 100 games, 120 games at, I think, Double-A in the minors. It would be I think it's Kemp's job until he gets hurt, the 15th of June. It doesn't come back until September. It's going to be interesting. It would definitely make the Padres a lot more watchable and hopefully entertaining.
As Drew said, you got Will Myers to see if he can come back to what he did 2 years ago, and you got Matt Kemp and his injury. So those are if those two perform like they have in the past, that's a good deal. If they don't, well, then you got Justin Upton. He's in the last year of his contract. He's going to make $14.5 million, which is if Torrey Hunter can get 10 and Alex Rios is getting 10, 12 million, 14.5 for Upton seems like a bargain for 30 home runs. You see, if he has a big year, he's 27. He can sign a big contract next year. If he chooses to leave San Diego, he can get one of those big 8-9 year contracts for 150 million or whatever. Want to get Drew's thoughts. Still got Shields out there. Still got Scherzer out there. Tigers, Yankees, Red Sox, maybe a team out west like the Giants. Do you have any favorites now as far as who you think those top two free agent pitchers are going to end up?
Instinctively, I thought Shields to Boston, and then Scherzer to New York.
Okay.
I want to ask Drew the same question I asked Travis and Charlie last week. If Scherzer goes to New York, can you name me a better 1-2 in baseball than Tanaka and Scherzer?
Oh boy.
Assuming
Padres,
I like Kershaw and Greinke in L.A., but they would be up there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think? Scherzer's probably gonna crack 200 million, don't you think? I would assume.
yes.
What does Lester get? 180?
150?
Yeah, I think Lester's 50 something.
Okay. Yeah, I think he will. What's the highest pitching contract?
Kershaw?
Kershaw.
Yeah.
All right. I don't think it'll get Kershaw money, but it'll be near it.
No. The time has come now. If you have them, show them now. As Marcus said, if you have them, smoke them. Trades, David came up with this last week. Historic trades of all time. I've thrown out Babe Ruth, don't even mention it. Herschel Walker, don't even mention it. Dig deep here. We're digging deep.
Paperwork right here, boys. You better be ready.
Look at this. Look at the goddamn notes here. NFL, not a lot of trades. Baseball, you can trade prospects, so that's an interesting dynamic. I want to start with the NBA because there's a lot of interesting trades in NBA history. So, Mr. Schottenkirk, if you want to lead us off here, if you want to be our Ben Revere, slap something to right field for us here. NBA.
All right, NBA. Well, I've got mine listed in my order of importance. I'll just throw out. Quite arguably, my biggest in the NBA was Bill Russell. Yeah, St. Louis Hawks had the second pick in 1950, whatever that was.
6.
Yeah, they couldn't afford to sign him, so they traded him for some guy named Shingo Green from Duquesne. So tell me how that worked out. We all know what Boston did with Russell there, one of the all-time greats. I think that's a good starting point.
Can you honestly evaluate that trade now 60 years later? Do you need more time?
I think we can fairly honestly say that was quite possibly one of the most lopsided trades ever.
I'd say a new rule: instead of a player's career being over, the players involved in the trade have to be dead.
There you go. Trivia question, rather easier trivia question. Where did Bill Russell go to college?
San Francisco.
Boom.
That place that. Yep.
Mr. Stacken, we welcome you to the program. What do we got on the hat today? Jackrabbit hat? What do we got there?
Oh, no, Jackrabbit, just
Vikings.
colored Viking, yep.
Did you hear what happened to him today?
You should take it off, throw it behind you, and then put up the safety sign.
Not good. Defense, they look like the defense of last year.
Defense was not good. Offense was pretty good. So that was encouraging to see.
They got to figure out a way to finish games, though. Good God.
That's right. 14-0 leads don't hold up very well. So, David, do you have any other number 2, number 3?
Okay, number 2, Magic Johnson. Gail Goodrich signed as a free agent to the Jazz, New Orleans Jazz. So in compensation, the Lakers got the number 1 pick in 1979, which, believe it or not, the top 2 picks in 1979, the one who got 1 and who got 2 was decided by a coin flip. I found that very interesting. Obviously, the Lakers won. They got Magic, led them to 5 titles, one again, an all-time great. Number 3, Kareem to Los Angeles from Milwaukee. The four following guys. If you guys have heard of any of these guys, I'm going to call you a straight-out liar. Junior Bridgman, Dave Myers, Elmore Smith, and Brian Winters is who Kareem got traded for.
Was Brian Winters a coach later on?
No, I think
different guy?
No. And then my 3A, I put the Kareem to LA, and then 3A is pretty much the same significance, in my opinion. Kevin McHale to Boston. In that deal, 1 and 13 to Golden State. Golden State took somebody by the name of Joe Barry Carroll, number 1 overall, and Ricky Brown, number 13. Who the fuck's Ricky Brown? Kevin McHale to Boston. They also, that year, got Robert Parrish at number 3. So think about that. McHale and Parrish in the same year. Boston Celtics had their shit together for a long time, as we all know.
Robert Parrish, college. Marcus Traxler.
Centenary.
Yes!
Charlie Hildebrand, boom. He was I believe, Drue Aman.
That's what I was thinking of on the last one. I got Robert Parrish and Bill Russell mixed up.
Drue Aman, do you know what you coined Robert Parrish?
No.
I believe you coined him the lead gentleman, I believe.
I did.
The lead gentleman, so.
NBA trades or not?
Anybody else got I got a couple more. Mr. Traxler. What do we got here? Anybody?
Didn't the Lakers and the 76ers trade draft picks and the Lakers ended up with Kobe?
The Hornets. The Hornets.
Someone did. Yeah. That's mine.
Okay.
Yeah, Vlade Divac to Charlotte, Kobe Bryant to Los Angeles. So that worked out well.
Yep.
Also, Scottie Pippen from the Seattle Supersonics. I don't know if you kids remember the Seattle Supersonics, but there was a team in Seattle once upon a time. And they traded him, they drafted him, and they traded him to the Bulls, and that worked out well. So
Where did Scottie Pippen go to college?
what do we got down south? Little Rock? Little
Central
Rock?
Arkansas.
Central Arkansas.
Central Arkansas, that's right. In Little Rock. And in Little Rock, I believe, yes.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. And then another one, what you got? Moses Malone from going to Philadelphia, and then they won the title in 1983.
Sixers.
That's right.
There we
So
go.
most of these trades involve titles being won at the end of them. So those are your trades right there. Anybody else got a trade of great significance?
You want a? I'll go off the radar. NHL trade.
No, not yet. We gotta go through the rest of sports, fuckhead.
Oh, that's really?
We'll wrap up the NBA with this one. Milwaukee Bucks selected this man in the '98 draft at number 9.
Real.
No.
Trajan Langdon.
Close. And by close, I mean not so much. No.
Dirk.
Dirk Nowitzki, yes, a Milwaukee Buck, and they decided to trade him to Dallas. So that did not work out well. I thought that the NFL was quite difficult because they don't trade guys. Do you have any idea, Mr. Schottenkirk, again, and NFL, not counting Herschel Walker,
Right.
anything trip your trigger?
I think there's, outside Herschel, there are 3 or 4 really big ones, but after that it does drive quite quickly. Number 1, obviously John Elway, in my opinion, Baltimore to Denver. That's arguably, in my opinion, could be the biggest trade in sporting history. Just the way that worked out. Obviously, we know Elway's history, winning a couple Super Bowls at the end of his career. Number 2, Brett Favre from Atlanta to Green Bay.
Yes.
For just 1 pick, the first round in 1982. We know what Favre ended up doing in Green Bay. Number 3, again, this is 3 and 3A, Montana, Kansas City. San Francisco had Steve Young. Montana went to Kansas City, had a few good years at the end of his career. And 3A was Marshall Faulk, Indianapolis, St. Louis, for believe it or not, just a 2nd and a 5th round pick. And the Indianapolis Colts selected Edgerrin James that following year in the first round. So they went from Faulk to Edgerrin James. I think that's a pretty good trade. And my one outlier, what Charlie mentioned at the end of the show last week, was Randy Moss to New England in 2007 when they went 18-0 and lost because of fucking David Tyree in the Super Bowl.
Yes. Steve Young, Bucks to 49ers. That was
Right.
significant. Charlie, did we? Is there any one on your list?
I would say that he stole my John Elway one. I can't say I'm surprised though. The other ones I would say are when the Washington Redskins and Broncos, they traded Champ Bailey and Clinton Portis. No titles involved, but it's rare that you see 2 guys that are top 5 in their position traded straight up without anything else involved. I don't think there was anything else, and that they both did well. And then the other one, it didn't actually end up working out for either team, but when I think it was New Orleans and Washington got like every single pick from New Orleans, and they got Ricky Williams, and somehow they did not find a way to make that work.
No.
So big in that there were chances for it to be great, but both teams kind of shot themselves in the foot repeatedly, which is weird because we know that Washington never makes any mistakes in management or trades ever.
They've probably been the best team outside of New England in the last 15 years, would you not say?
Easily.
Yeah.
I think they've made the playoffs multiple times, so that's hard to do.
I got an NFL one for you.
What do you got for me?
Eli Manning, Phillip Rivers.
There you go. It's not bad.
Good one.
The Chargers also got Sean Merriman, and Nate Kading, who were not duds.
No.
I know the Chargers had to trade away a boatload of stuff to move up to number 2 with the Cardinals so they could draft Ryan Leaf. And the Cardinals got like at least 2 or 3 guys that were okay, and they still sucked for a long time, but they at least didn't get Ryan Leaf.
How about Chargers, Falcons? Falcons take Michael Vick. Chargers take Drew Brees and LaDainian Tomlinson.
Pretty good.
Not bad.
It's definitely up there.
Also, Jerome Bettis to the Rams from the Steelers, to the Steelers from the Rams. And apparently, Hall of Famer Steve Largent, receiver for Seattle, was drafted by the Oilers, and they traded him to Seattle for an 8th-round pick. So, Hall of Fame receiver for an 8th-round pick. That'll do, Pig. That'll do. Baseball. I got any big baseball trades? There's been a lot of guys traded early in their career before we knew what they were, and they were Hall of Famers. So, Mr. Schottenkirk, what do we got? Stick in the ball. Ken Griffey Jr. with the Reds. Well done.
What did you say? Well, yeah. Anyways, I've got like 10 baseball trades written down for the last probably 15 years or so. Hopefully, Aman can enjoy some of this pretty recent history. Some of these names they got traded for big names. We can start with obviously Ken Griffey. Anybody want to take a guess who the biggest name in that Ken Griffey deal was?
Is it Freddie Garcia?
Nope.
Oh, what was the Freddie Garcia over Randy Johnson? Yeah. Is he a Mexican?
Brett Boone.
Is he a Mexican? No, it's not Brett Boone either.
What was the pitcher?
Outfielder.
Mike Cameron? Was Mike Cameron in there?
Yeah, it's Mike Cameron.
There you go.
But anyways, Griffey with Mike Cameron with the Reds, or from Seattle going to the Reds. The blow-up of the 97 Florida team was quite interesting. And Mike Piazza getting traded to there. He was there for 8 days. Then he goes to the Mets. We know how that went. The Dodgers traded Piazza and Todd Zeile for the following. Manny Barrios, Gary Sheffield, the world-famous Stacken. You like this one? The world-famous Bobby Bonilla, one of your favorite. Best trades.
It hurts.
You know what?
So,
I can't say anything about it, so
Bobby,
all right.
I said it. It's archived.
All right. I just
It's
said
in the archives.
I still love you. Our truce from last week still good to go.
Good.
Anyways, moving on. Miguel Cabrera and Dontrell Willis to Detroit for the following. You're going to love these because 4 of the 6 names, unless you're a diehard baseball fan, you thought were dead or never existed. The 2 names that anybody knows from that trade for Miggy and Dontrell to Detroit, Andrew Miller turned out to be a very, very good reliever. Yes, that Andrew Miller, he's 29 years old. He was a prospect at 18 at the time. Cameron Maybin was in San Diego, I believe, for several years and had one decent year. He's still floating around somewhere, still sucking ass.
I think he's still in San Diego.
Is he? Okay.
I think so.
The other names, Burt Badenhop, shit-ass reliever. Mike Rubello, I don't think he ever broke into the majors. Eugenio De La Cruz was a prospect. I'm pretty sure he got murdered, and no, I'm not kidding.
Yeah.
And Dallas, I can't read my own handwriting, but anyways, another shitty reliever. So at this rate, obviously a first-ballot Hall of Famer, Miguel Cabrera, the Florida Marlins got out of the deal that they didn't ever use Andrew Miller and fucking Cameron Maybin. Talk about getting raked over the coals.
Not bad.
Next one, the Reds in Texas, Mr. Cocaine Boy himself, Josh Hamilton, for Danny Herrera and Edison Volquez. Edison Volquez, again, was a prospect at the time. Turned out to be a flash in the pan here or there, had a good year. He's still a starter anyways. And no, I'm not going history back. I'm just, again, so some of our younger viewers will actually have a chance to remember these. Obviously, A-Rod to the Yanks, Soriano and Joaquin Arias. We all know how that went. Schilling to Boston for, again, 2 guys. I'm sure Aman and Travis remember Brandon Lyon and Jorge De La Rosa. The 2
George De La Rosa.
And my personal favorite for the last last 15, 20 years. The Cleveland Indians and the Montreal Expos had a very big deal. Can you name the two centerpieces of the deal, either Drue or
my favorite, Fat Bartolo Colon.
Yep. And Tim Drue. I'll give you the other guy. Tim Drue was his name. I don't know. Obviously, wasn't very much of anything. Three really good players, one of which got
Milton
hurt.
Milton Bradley in there, wasn't it?
No, Milton Bradley's not in there. No, it wasn't Pager. That would be something.
That's a different one I'm thinking of.
Quite arguably, the left-hander that Montreal gave up became one of the best. Probably a 3-year run as the best lefty in the league.
Who was it?
Left-handed pitcher. I don't know.
Cliff Lee.
Oh yeah.
A very good second baseman also went in that deal to the Indians.
Brandon Phillips,
yes. And a center fielder that was very good, had a lot of injury problems, also went in that deal.
Brady Sizemore.
So that's you looking back, a lot of those guys, yeah, that's a very big deal. And obviously Montreal failed, they moved to Washington the next year as well. So historically speaking, it's a very big deal.
Why is it that baseball trades? Is it because of the prospects? I mean, we got tons of baseball trades, NBA not many, NFL never. Is it because of the prospects?
Yeah, I think so. I think people are, you get high on somebody, you think you can make something out of something, and you go for it, and you get 2 or 3 guys that could turn out to be, potential contributors in the major league team. You might as well. And I think there is room for a lot more movement because the amount of guys and the amount of potential is a hell of a lot deeper than all the other sports.
Randy Johnson, he was traded 4 times in his career. First by Montreal to Seattle for a bag of bones. Then from Seattle 10 years later to Houston for 12 starts. One in the playoffs. He started 12 games for Houston. Houston gave up Freddie Garcia and Carlos Guillen. Then he was traded by Arizona to the Yankees for Deanna Navarro, some other guy I never heard of, and Javier Vasquez. And then he was traded 2 years later by the Yankees back to Arizona for Luis Vizcaíno, Ross Ohlendorf, and 2 other retreads. And so he was traded quite a few times. A Hall of Fame pitcher traded 4 times. That's pretty goddamn rare. So,
if I might, Travis, here, let's bring baseball. I got the hockey ones lined up. I'm interested in Stacken and Marcus involved here. Unless you were going somewhere else with the baseball, I think I'd like to take over for the hockey because I got something planned here.
I'd say McGuire from Oakland to St. Louis broke the home run record the next year. Pedro from Montreal to Boston. The Twins had a good trade. Pierzynski 1 year to San Francisco. They get Boof Bonzer. He was an MVP. And he had Joe Nathan and Lariano. I would say those are the and Jeff Bagwell, Boston to Houston for nothing. So that's all I got.
And so I got mine are sort of different, but just 2 quick ones. Is Kurt Flood, I don't remember where he got traded to, but if he doesn't get traded, it's a lot longer till we get free agency, and that changed things. And then the other one, I had to look up his name because I always forget it. Harry Cheedy. He was traded to the Indians, and for a player to be named later, and he eventually was traded back for himself. The first player to ever be traded for himself. One of 3 or 4 guys ever.
Those are some good ones there. Those are some good ones.
Stacken, Traxler, get excited. NHL trades, who you got?
Let's hear yours here. Well, never mind.
No. Yeah, you said, let me hear. Obviously, we got to start off Wayne Gretzky. Obviously.
That's a historic trade, but the rest of the players in that deal were not anything to write home about.
Marty McSorley?
He was good. Yeah.
And I got a written-in joke here because I had to remember one.
Yeah, obviously, you've got some sort of
Stop. Let me do this. It's already fucking ruined, but whatever. Jimmy Carson was a part of that deal. Jimmy Carson, Johnny Carson's son. Anybody? going once, twice. Nope, failed on. God damn it.
I know who Johnny Carson is.
That was the
I'm assuming that is not his son. I'm assuming that is not his son.
Yeah, that was the joke. Thank you. Yeah.
But chink right there.
I thought they were trading Jimmy Carter.
Oh, you have to one-up me, don't you, asshole?
They traded a bunch of fucking peanuts in the shell. In the shell. So.
All right.
Well, what's the deal here? He was traded to St. Louis for Los Angeles, and he spent about 5 minutes in St. Louis. So.
What?
Where Wayne Gretzky played for the Blues.
He never played for the Blues unless I'm imagining something.
Are you talking about the L.A. trade, or are you talking about the New York trade?
Wayne Gretzky went from L.A. to the St. Louis Blues, and he played 18 games for him in 95-96.
Yeah, that's not the L.A. trade.
I know it's not. It's a different trade. He was traded again.
Yeah.
I mean, that was, I don't know if they expected to get him for more than 18 games, but then he went to New York for 3 years and retired. But
that's pretty weird.
I mean, they gave up 3 players, a 5th-round pick, and a 1st-round choice, so that's a significant trade for a little more than a dozen games. So.
Yeah.
Moving on, because my joke failed so miserably. Stacken, what's the number 2 most important trade in NHL history, in your opinion? Do you have anything?
I was just looking at it because I hadn't had a chance to do some homework, but I just came across one. Eric Lindros being traded from the Quebec Nordiques to the Philadelphia Flyers. In return, they got some guy named Peter Forsberg, Steve Duchesne, a couple first-round draft picks, but the Peter Forsberg part of that deal is the biggest one to me. Eric Lindros is great for the Flyers, but the Avalanche certainly helped build a semi-dynasty and a definite rivalry with the Detroit Red Wings after they moved to Colorado and won a couple of Stanley Cups, in large part thanks to that trade.
Yeah, that trade was...
Also, in addition...
real quick, Drexler, that was number 4 on my list. So Stacken, we're on the same wavelength anyways.
Philadelphia traded a pick to Quebec and then later Colorado. That was Jocelyn Thibodeau, and they ended up moving him for Patrick Waugh. So not a bad move. Yeah, they sort of parlayed that into a Hall of Fame goaltender for Colorado. That was
I believe it's pronounced Roy, Patrick Roy.
That Patrick Waugh movie that you're alluding to was my number 2, Montreal to Colorado. It was Patrick Waugh and Mike Keane for your Jocelyn Thibodeau, Martin Rosinsky, and Andre, some random-ass Finnish name. But a player of that caliber for relatively nobodies. Number 2 on the list. Number 3, Chicago and Boston, one the only, Phil Esposito, Ken Hodge, and Fred Stanfield, for something named Pitt Martin, Guy Mariette, and Jack Norris. No, Jack Norris is not the guy they named Norris Trophy after him. It was his cousin James Norris named the trophy after him.
I know we had talked about this a little bit, Schottenkirk, last week, but and this has a little while to work out, but the Tyler Seguin trade for the Dallas Stars from the Boston Bruins for Louis Eriksson and a bunch of peanuts, that certainly looks like a pretty good trade for them.
Absolutely. Seguin's probably a top 5 or 10 offensive player anyways right now. 22 years old, is tearing shit up. If he continues on it, looking at another 30 years from now, we could look back at that second trade being pretty historic.
Eriksson has scored some goals here recently, so maybe that's turning around for Boston. But, yeah, right now they're on the wrong side of history when it comes to that particular trade.
From what I can gather through a Google search, Vancouver sent a first-round pick along with Seabass from Dumb and Dumber to Boston for somebody named Barry Peterson. So I think whenever Seabass is in a trade, that's significant.
That's big, yeah.
So,
here's the details on the Gretzky St. Louis Blues thing. He was traded there in February of 1996, and he only played
18 games.
18 games, and then at the end of the year, he signed with New York. Free agent.
I'm not quite sure how Mr. Aman is doing this, but
I'm not either.
I have not eaten, so what is this? I am hungry. Is anybody else hungry?
Let's all go out for dinner when this is over.
I is hungry. We'll meet in Presho. And go from there. So,
All right.
it's been a long edition of the Lounge. Mr. Stacken is here. Any thoughts, Mr. Stacken, Vikings or otherwise?
It was nice of Andrew Luck and the Colts to show up today.
That
was nice. Cowboys looking good. Tony Romo, thank you for helping me win a buttload of money in my fantasy league. I appreciate it. Vikings close. They're getting there, but you got to win these games on the road. That sucks. Good win for the Chargers last night. A bad loss for the Bills today, and I know this is not going to last, but right now I am leading the College Bowl Pick'em.
Yes, the Bowl Pick'em. I was meaning to ask, why in the fuck did you put so many points on Bowling Green?
Because they were playing fucking Southern Alabama. I know.
South Alabama.
I'm not trying to say not go USA, but
So that's what you're saying. You're anti-American.
Pretty much.
Why did you hack Sony, Stacken?
Well, you know what? Me and Kim Jong-un are big friends, and I went over there with Dennis Rodman, and we played some basketball. We had a good time, shared a few laughs, and I said, you know what? I'll help you out with Sony.
Who brought the laughs to share? Did you bring the laughs? Did Rodman bring the laughs? How many laughs did he bring? Who got the most? What'd you do with them when you had them?
I probably got laughed at more. I was the reason to come over there to be the jokester, and fortunately I escaped with my life.
But I assume you did palm the basketball.
Yes, and a wall clock, for old time's sake.
Well done. Well done.
Kim really liked that.
Very nice. Mr. Aman, want to get your thoughts? Sports Lounge Network, we're thinking, there's a lot of shows about wives of sorts out there. Mr. Schottenkirk had mentioned there's some ugly wives of athletes. Most notably, breeder Philip Rivers' wife, Tiffany. Not the prettiest thing you've ever seen. 7 kids. Then you also got Clayton Kershaw. Probably could do better than what he's got. Would you watch a show like that? Anybody that you know of that has an ugly wife?
What's with Schottenkirk and Clayton Kershaw's wife? It's like a little bit weird.
Have you seen her?
She's fine.
She's like a 6.5.
Kershaw?
Ellen Kershaw's maybe give it a 6.5, and 6.5 for me, my scale is relatively low.
No, that's not.
He could do so much. Russell Wilson.
You got pretty high standards.
Yes, I do. That's very true. But anyways, you got to be more like Russell Wilson. Young hotshot, Super Bowl winning quarterback, divorce his wife, trade up, get a better one. You got to work the market here. Kershaw's young. If he's in love, fine, I'll give him that. But if he's truly not, doesn't think this is the one.
Is that one of the best trades in the NFL in the past 5 years? We'll see who Blake Bortles' next girlfriend is.
Yeah, what the hell did Mr. Bottles do to himself? Jesus Christ, what was that?
He was just giving all you guys a chance that are single. So
giving us a chance. Jesus Christ.
Traxler, get on it. You know you want to.
Mr. Ponder's done well for himself for being a shitty at his job. He's done well. So.
And I'll shut up after this, but one more thing I have. Yes, I promise. I swear on my life I will. I have to acknowledge that my guy, my man crush, my number one lover in a non-gay sense, Mr. Matthew Barkley, is expecting his first child. So how about a round of applause for Mr. Barkley? Come on. Everybody with me right now?
I'll give you a golf clap.
I don't clap for quarterbacks that go 7-6 in their final year.
Boom. Okay, let's see what his wife looks like. Is he married?
Yes, yeah. Brittany, goddamn bombshell.
Nah.
Yeah, better than fucking.
Well, See, similar. You got if you Google it, if you're on the Google machine, if you're subscribed to the Google machine, you put in. I think you put in Kershaw and his wife. You get some. I think they're in Africa, doing some charity work. You put Matt Barkley in here. Last picture on the first row, you put in Matt Barkley's wife. They are also in Africa. It appears doing some sort of a seminar on real estate. It's all right. It's all right.
My public plea, Matt Barkley, please let me be the godfather of the kid. Come on. I'm sure he'll watch this and probably want to come kill me. So
he's not bad for a third stringer. I mean, that's he kind of looks like Kirk Herbstreit, so maybe he's got a TV thing going on. I don't know.
There you go.
There you
go. Quickly. You said you wondered why I put 32 points on Bowling Green.
Yes.
Kirk did put 31 on Southern Alabama, so I wasn't completely out there with this game.
Yes.
Well, one of you was. One of you lost your mind.
Yes.
But you did win the game. You did win the game. So.
I know. I'm just saying we both had this game as a high peg.
Mr. Schottenkirk explained himself here. He blames his future wife. So.
Yeah, it was a simple miscommunication that I wanted 13 points on South Alabama, not 31.
Okay.
Yeah. So, anyways.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good enough.
Do you feel confident, Mr. Stacken? I know you said you did not, but I'll ask you again.
Yeah.
Do you feel confident? You got off to a big lead here. This is like goddamn horse race. You don't want to get off to a big lead here. Blow your load early on, as you know.
It won't last. There will be a few games in here that I will screw up. The Northern Illinois Marshall game, that's the next big one on the list, on the docket for me. So we'll see what comes out of that one.
Also interesting, Dan Beck hit on his 39 and 38 points. So big time there.
I should have put Lafayette ahead a little bit more than just 20 points. I didn't really buy into the.
You were pretty crazy.
You also went out on a limb there. 20 points, I believe. Aman had it at 8, the second highest. I like Lafayette. Most of us went with Lafayette. Stones of stones, Mr. Stacken.
Thank you. We'll see how it pans out. I didn't watch a moment. I didn't watch 1 second of bowl action yesterday, but. Damn it, I was on my phone, I think, the entire day, just keeping track of scores and seeing where everyone else was at. So
you didn't miss much.
You missed the South Alabama coach getting his face broken?
Yeah. That was pretty awesome.
That was the highlight of the day. So. Well done. Mr. Traxler, we do have a couple competitors here. They have, I believe Mr. Koob has not made picks, so Koob with the afro and such, doing things with the Timberwolves. But we've had a handful here at not. Switch teams, Traxler being the most notable of the bunch. Messages, Christmas cards, blue lights. What do you got?
I got to talk to him about that.
Will you see him? Will you see him?
I'll see him on Wednesday.
Okay.
But by that point, he might lose the pick'em. So, which I actually thought, okay, it must be that if you don't make the picks, it starts at the top. 39, 38, like you lose those points. Like if you missed them.
I think it just. Are you sure?
I don't know, but
I don't know.
Yeah, I think it starts at the bottom. I'm pretty sure it starts at the bottom.
Wow. Well, I mean, somebody should tell Koob he's only missed out on like 10 points.
All right. We'll wrap it up with this, Mr. Aman. Who do you want Tampa Bay to select in the draft?
Yeah, I want to eat pizza. Oh. Would you ask?
I have to go. Have a good evening, everybody.
Okay. We'll talk Mitchell. Yes. Tampa Bay. They getting the first pick here. Who do you want?
They have a 3-game lead in the strength of schedule going into the last week against Tennessee. So they're in decent shape. They just had to lose to New Orleans. They'll probably have it. And
Warrior Saints though.
The Buccaneers are exceptionally bad, so that should not happen. I'm more and more every day. I'm on the crusade to become a Marcus Mariota fan.
Oh boy!
So I'm buying into him a little more and more as the days go by. I think his question marks are only just about the system he's in. And you know what? If a quarterback can't learn a different system, or if a coordinator can't adhere to his strengths, of which there are many, then that's just goddamn no good at all.
I'm going to go way out on a limb here and say that Philadelphia is going to try and make a move for the number 1 pick.
Would you be okay with a package of Nick Foles and shit picks for the first pick?
And like a couple first rounders and like a second rounder, and even then I would be a little bit unsure, because odds are the first round pick become, it's like in the 20s.
Yep.
I think if you're going to get rid of the first pick, you got to make sure you get picks that are, top 8. So
I'm just saying, watch out for it. Unless it's a smokescreen, and we know Chip Kelly loves his smokescreens.
I smell something. I smell something. It's either a Chip Kelly smoke screen or Stacken's left the goddamn MLB hot stove on too long. It's one of the two. We'll look into it later.
I should put that out right now.
Yeah, you may want to turn it down to a low simmer, since no. So we got Mr. Marcus Traxler. It was a full lounge today. Mr. Schottenkirk with his trades, well done. Mr. Stacken with his bold pick'em, he's leading the bunch. Mr. Aman in Los Angeles joining us, very well done. And some good work by Charlie Hildebrand on the blog, sportsloungeblog.tumblr.com. Bowl previews from the bowl games. Give people a taste. They want a taste of the Hildebrand. Humor, what do we got?
I would say just a couple of them. You can see how good Wallace, Ole Miss quarterback, how things could shake out with him. And Art Briles may make a couple of appearances in there, being upset about how things played out in the Baylor Bears not getting into the 4-team playoff. And he might have take some umbrage with that.
Whenever you can use the word umbrage, it's a good time. So a 97th edition of the Sports Lounge. We'll be back next week. We'll know the NFL playoff matchups, hopefully. We'll have a Sunday night game of note to be determined. But until then...
Lions Packers, I'm calling it right now.
Lions Packers.
Yep.
I'm on the Carolina Atlanta wagon.
That's the number 2 pick.
Very good. Very good.
That's what my sources in Park Avenue are telling me.
Very good. Keep on the phone there. So, gentlemen, Merry Christmas. Enjoy any pie that you may have, since pie may be available. So we'll talk again next week. And this has been the 97th edition of the Sports Lounge.